Hello everyone, I am Grand Royson, welcome to new video. Today I am going to recommend 16 underrated Isekai anime. 16. Problem children are coming from another world, aren't they? Many children dream of having otherworldly psychic powers, being able to shape the world around them with little more than a thought. The characters in Problem Children are coming from another world, aren't they? Actually have these powers. Unfortunately, in their boring world, they have no reason to use them. All that changes when they receive an invitation to travel to Little Garden, a place where using powers like theirs can win one wealth and prestige in the gift games. When the phrase Demon Lord starts being tossed around, however, the children soon realize things aren't as simple as they first appear. Strong Isekai protagonists and a clever story help make this anime great. 15. Now and then, here and there. Helping strangers is important. Altruism is an admirable trait. Going out of one's way to save a strange girl from the machines trying to kidnap her is still above the call of duty for most people. Not so for Shimatsutani. It turns out that's exactly the kind of impulsive heroism that gets one whisked away to a desert world, attacked by soldiers, and accused of stealing a magical, water-making pendant. Though the animation is a little dated, now and then, here and there has more than enough to make up for it. The themes are sometimes darker than its childish appearance would suggest, but those comfortable venturing into a grim world will be grateful for the journey. 14. Kakuryō, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. Whether the ability to see spirits is a blessing or a curse depends very much on the story. For college student Aoi, it's a little bit of both. Aoi is walking past a shrine when a spirit sitting there asks her for food. She feeds him, only for the spirit, an ogre named Odana, to kidnap her and take her away to the hidden realm where all spirits dwell. It is there that Aoi learns that her grandfather owed the ogre a debt, and Odana intends to take Aoi's hand in marriage as compensation. Instead, Aoi convinces the ogre to let her work at his inn. It might not have the depth of a great psychological anime, but Kakuryō, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits is still among the finest Isekai around. 13. El Hazard, The Magnificent World. An OVA series that produced 2 seasons, El Hazard is not always great, but it is consistently entertaining. Makoto and Jinai do not get along, largely thanks to the latter being jealous of the former. During a school confrontation, the 2 students find themselves dragged to a magical world by a mysterious woman, and they are accompanied by 2 other people. El Hazard offers silly over-the-top nonsense. While not for everyone, the show's comedy regularly hits the mark, provided a viewer does not mind its unabashedly 1990s presentation. Nowadays, this underrated Isekai anime is difficult to find, but it is worth watching if someone stumbles across it. 12. Brave Story. A forgotten mid-2000s anime movie, Gonzo's Brave Story is an Isekai adventure that follows a young boy as he heads to the magical world of vision in order to alter the trajectory of his family life. The latter has taken a terrible turn in recent days, forcing the innocent and good-natured boy to see change from an unlikely source. Brave Story is a pretty good film that does not quite achieve excellence, mostly as the adaptation struggles to condense a fairly long story into roughly 2 hours. While the CGI is somewhat dated, Gonzo's animation is generally solid, and the main characters go through a proper arc throughout the story. 11. High school prodigies have it easy even in another world. What do a magician, multimillionaire, genius inventor, swordswoman, prime minister, doctor, and journalist/former ninja all have in common? They're the 7 high school prodigies who survive a plane crash and end up in a world of medieval fantasy. High school prodigies have it easy even in another world might have a weird premise, but it's exceptionally well made, with quality animation, music, and writing. The prodigies are experts in their fields on Earth, but how will those skills benefit them in a world of swords and magic? Answering that question is what this series is all about. 10. Drifters. A lesser-known series from the creator of Hellsing Ultimate, Drifters is about historical figures thrown together to save, or conquer, the world. Following the exploits of Japanese soldier Shimazu Toyohisa as well as more famous faces including Joan of Arc and Oda Nobunaga, Drifters appeals to fans of history, war, and fantasy anime, with characters that are some of the Earth's greatest warriors, even if they aren't anime's strongest. With fluid combat animations and an art style unsurprisingly reminiscent of Hellsing Ultimate, Drifters is as attractive as it is well written. The relationships between its historical characters might at times seem obscure to the average viewer, but that doesn't detract from the show's excellence. 9. The 12 Kingdoms. For those who value thoughtful world building, this series is an exceptional anime. To no one's surprise, The 12 Kingdoms features 12 kingdoms, each with a distinct culture and government. While it isn't a realistic anime like Haichiro, the series explores its world in a rewarding way. The kingdoms feel authentic and lived in a way that most anime settings simply don't. The character development is excellent, and the series doesn't shy away from asking hard questions to tackling grand themes. Dated animation doesn't hamper the power of the story or the nuance of the characters' relationships. On most levels, The 12 Kingdoms surpasses expectations. 8. Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. In Isekai, it's common for characters to take on the role of unstoppable warriors, brilliant spellcasters, or uncatchable thieves. Isekai settings are often exaggerated, so realism is rarely the focus. Not so in Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. Here, the characters receive neither special powers nor regal titles upon entering their new world. Instead, they must join the army as lowly soldiers to survive. By exploring the characters' gradual emotional adjustment to their new circumstances rather than the epic struggle against a world-ending villain, Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions grounds itself in a way that few shows manage to. For this, the series ranks amongst the best Isekai anime. 7. Restaurant to Another World. Most of the week, Tokyo restaurant Nicoya is a popular but otherwise ordinary eatery, but on Saturdays, it serves customers from other worlds. For fans of food anime looking for more relaxing, comforting content than an intense series like Food Wars provides, Restaurant to Another World is the answer. Because the series is a food anime as much as an Isekai anime, the joy of the series is watching mythical creatures visit Earth to sample the delicious treats that humans whip up in the kitchen. Like any great slice-of-life anime, what it lacks in over-the-top action, Restaurant to Another World more than makes up for with cozy wholesomeness. 6. Outbreak Company. An odd mashup of harem, comedy, and parody anime, Outbreak Company is about the protagonist's quest to spread the news of otaku culture in a fantasy world where it doesn't exist. Treating such a doomed and pointless mission as worthy of a series is hilarious in itself, and Outbreak Company capitalizes on its own absurdity at every opportunity. Shinichi is a missionary for otaku culture in a world with zero interest in his passion. Because of this, the plot of Outbreak Company may ring true for otaku viewers who can sympathize with a hero who just wants to share their love for a beloved fictional something. This relatability may be the series' greatest strength. It's a geeky show the entire mission of which is to demonstrate that geekiness is valid. 5. Didn't I say to make my abilities average in the next life? Genius can be isolating, separating someone from those who are less capable, something Misato Kurihara knows well. When Misato is given the opportunity to reincarnate in a fantasy world, all she wants is to be like everyone else. Unfortunately, the magical powers with which Misato is gifted are the average of all of those in the entire world, making her exceptionally powerful. Like Sword Art Online and similar anime, Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life? Is funny and self-aware but capable of delivering on serious moments. While it differs significantly from the light novels upon which it is based, the anime has its own strengths. As an isekai with an engaging female protagonist and plenty of in-jokes and references to other anime, Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life achieves what it's supposed to. 4. Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Overpowered main characters often ruin the stories they feature in. After all, what's the point of watching the adventures of a hero when the fate of every battle is obvious before it even begins? In the case of an anime like Cautious Hero, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious, satire is the story's salvation. The series is funny enough that even if it botched the execution of its premise, it might survive on the strength of its jokes alone. Fortunately, viewers will never have to know the answer to that hypothetical, because the series executes its premise with aplomb. No amount of training or potions will ever convince Seiya that he is ready for the dangers ahead, and that's a punchline that always lands. 3. My next life as a villainess, all routes lead to doom. Setting foot in the world of one's favorite video game may be a dream for many, but it's a nightmare for the protagonist of My Next Life as a Villainess, all routes lead to doom. Rather than become the hero of the story, Katarina is reincarnated as the villain. Being the bad guy in a story where the hero always triumphs is an obvious problem, and Katarina realizes that if she is to have any kind of happiness or success in this new world, she's going to have to do some out-of-the-box thinking. Since Katarina knows that the villain dies at the end of the game, only careful planning and intense metagaming will keep her alive. The question is, will this series be one where the villain wins? 2. Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world. Overall, 2023 was a solid year for Isekai anime, with The Eminence in Shadow and Mushoku Tensei taking center stage. Series like The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen, Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion, and Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill are also pretty good and could arguably qualify as underrated shows. However, Kamikatsu deserves a mention since it has a higher entry barrier. Studio Palette's anime leaves a confusing first impression as it features terrible CGI animation, a stylistic and comedic decision that might just seem bad initially. Only after a few episodes does it become clear that Kamikatsu has a peculiar sense of humor, one that grows more absurd and deranged as the season progresses. At the end of the day, this anime is the definition of an acquired taste, but if someone likes it, they are likely to love it. 1. Ascendance of a Bookworm. Watching a child learn to read is not the stuff of epic tales, so it's understandable that an anime with this premise might be overlooked. Ascendance of a Bookworm is niche, with plot progression that is slow by design, but neither of these facts keeps the series from being wonderful. Its premise and gradual pacing aren't for everyone. Viewers looking for a unique and underappreciated Isekai need look no further. By sharing the protagonist's entire journey with viewers instead of cutting corners, Ascendance of a Bookworm distinguishes itself from most series in the genre. It is an anime that truly respects the world its protagonist stumbles into, rather than making that world the flimsy excuse for a power fantasy. If you like this video, please like, subscribe and share for more. Thanks you all, meet you in another video.